Thank you for joining us on Nationwide. I'm Ruth Aguela. As part of the coverage of the second year anniversary of the Tinubu presidency, the Nigerian Television Authority is commencing its exclusive documentary series of the midterm report of the current administration with nationwide sound bites on interventions in the key sectors.
We are restoring order. We are bringing justice. We are bringing back peace to our country.
We create serious offensive around that time. Then locally, after some times, the bandits themselves decided to drop the weapons and embrace peace.
We came up with an approach which is the 1 to 10 to 100 as the way in which we're going to deliver the training. We train them, they have to put their skill sets into practice, then UNDP will pay their salary and place them into those companies, which was why we were lucky. About 5,000 of them immediately got that opportunity.
The diffusion of new ideas, the miles still to go. Some questions with new answers. Join us tonight at 8 p.m. for an eye on the fence, the boots needed for the march ahead. And at 8:30 p.m. we will evaluate the economy and find out what the numbers are saying in the stores and in the stocks. And at 10:05 p.m. we'll put on our stethoscope on the health sector to find out how healthy the nation's healthcare delivery system is faring. Join us for these comprehensive documentaries on this platform as we bring you views of Nigerians and the reviews of the experts. Minister of Housing and Urban Development Ahmed Musa Dengiwa has reiterated that in 2 years under President Bola Tinubu's administration, Nigeria's housing sector has been significantly recorded strides, particularly through the Renewed Hope program. The federal government flagship initiative aims to tackle the nation's staggering housing deficit by delivering 50,000 affordable housing units across major cities like Abuja, Lagos and Kano as pilots. Lydia Sampson reports.
Program Gaston Good Morning Nigeria noted is part of a broader strategy that includes the Renewed Hope social housing program targeting low-income earners and vulnerable groups. Ahmed Musa Dengiwa emphasized the significance of job creation with over 250,000 jobs generated across the value chain of ongoing projects.
It is aimed to deliver 77,400 housing units at 100 housing units in each of the 774 local government areas of the country. This is what the Renewed Hope program is all about: to deliver cities, to deliver estates, and to deliver social housing to Nigerians.
Okay, if the ministry provides land access, we can reduce the cost of houses by, say, 10-15%.
Okay.
If we have additional, government-owned enterprise funding, we can reduce it again by another 15%. So that kind of collaboration is how we get to affordable housing.
This reveals how the initiative also ensures accessibility, allowing buyers to pay a third of their monthly income, making home ownership feasible even for those earning as low as 30,000 monthly. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas has withdrawn the compulsory voting bill which he co-sponsored with Representative Daniel Asama from Plateau State. The proposed legislation to amend the Electoral Act 2022 to make voting mandatory for all eligible Nigerians had passed second reading on the floor of the House, generating debates and public reactions. Speaker Tajuddin, in a statement, however, says the decision to withdraw the bill follows extensive consultations with a broad spectrum of stakeholders, as well as respect for individual freedoms and public sentiment. Nigeria stands with the African Union member states to mark Africa Day 2025 with the theme Justice for Africans and People of African Descent through Reparations. A statement by the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kimebi Ebienfa, reaffirms Nigeria's dedication to continental unity sustainable development and amplifying the African Continental Free Trade Area to promote intra-African trade, initiated by the African Union. He commends celebration of strides made in education, healthcare and infrastructure, and efforts at addressing poverty, inequality and conflict to drive equitable progress in Africa. He's such a gifted boy with a brilliant mind. Well, that is how the Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu described 15-year-old Nigerian autistic artist. You remember him? Kanyachukwu Okeke, who visited her office after recently making history with his painting as the world's largest art canvas. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo will tell us more.
With an aura of triumph radiating on his face, Kanyachukwu Okeke made his way into the office of Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu, accompanied by his parents. The young autistic artist made headlines after defying his condition to earn a place in the Guinness World Records by painting and unveiling the world's largest art canvas titled "Impossibility is a Myth." His meeting with the First Lady took off on a warm note as they shared a hug, a social gesture said to be rare for autistic children.
I think he likes me already. I like him too.
Applauding Kanyachukwu's accomplishment, the First Lady describes his success as not just a personal win, but a clarion call for more inclusion of children with special needs.
Autism actually, and even mental health, it happens in the lives of very brilliant children. So you just have to pay attention. And this would also send a message with other parents. Because in Nigeria, when it comes to mental health, we tend to take it otherwise. And you know, their interest is always single, and you have to just push with it.
While showering the young artist with gifts, their First Lady equally praised the tenacity of his parents for paying the price to ensure that the boy lives his dream.
And the money we gave is towards his education and whatever he wants to do, and you can put it into good use for him.
Kanyachukwu was led to the First Lady's office by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Arts, Culture, Tourism and Creative Economy, Mukhtar Yawali Muhammad.
The artwork was created to promote autism acceptance and support for individuals on the spectrum, with proceeds from the event going to the Ziba Foundation.
Her acknowledgement, her gift, her support, because she pledged support for Kanye and for children. You can tell from the Renewed Hope agenda how passionate she is about children and youth and women.
Kanyachukwu achieved this feat on November 24, 2024, surpassing the previous record of 9,652 square meters set in 2022. In the State House, Adeni Taiwo, NTA News.
In other news, efforts made by the Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund to support persons with sickle cell has been lauded by persons living with a health challenge. Judith Ojonugwa, Sickle Cell Foundation, commended the trust fund inclusive corporate social responsibility. The foundation, in a letter to the managing director of NSITF, Barrister Oluwaseun Faleye, expresses deep appreciation for the donations it received from the fund to support persons with sickle cell. The foundation further states that the donation has helped it in raising public awareness on sickle cell disease, provision of essential medical items, and free genotype tests. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has appealed to the government to give more consideration to education in its quest of ensuring national rebirth. In a media briefing, ASU President Chris Piwuna said, "It is through education that citizens are empowered, values are instilled, innovation is birthed, creativity promoted, and formidable nations are built." The president also added that a few issues concerning implementation of the 2009 agreement have been partially sorted out. In the spirit of give and take, the entire gamut of the agreement should be implemented for the union's welfare and industrial harmony.
ASU wishes to state that the level of implementation of the 2009 FGN-ASU agreement is not encouraging. Although a few of these issues are partially implemented, a large number of issues still remain unaddressed, and they include conclusion of the renegotiation of the 2009 FGN-ASU agreement based on the NIMI BRICS Committee draft committee of 2021, release of withheld 3.5 months salaries on account of the 2022 strike action. We're still waiting for government to fulfill these promises.
There is victory for all.
In a bid to match words with action, the Federal Capital Territory Administration has commenced the sealing up of premises in default of payment of ground rent for that's between 10 to 43 years. Onoze Yakubu, who is monitoring the unfolding situation, reports that within the Wuse district, premises housing the Access Bank close to Wuse Market, Total Fuel Station and the head office of the Federal Inland Revenue Service in Wuse Zone 5 have been sealed up by the officials of the Development Control Department in collaboration with other sister agencies. The Access Bank is in default of ground rent payment for 34 years. We'll bring you more details in subsequent bulletin. And at this point, we head to Lagos. Let's find out what Ingino John Adams has in store for us. Hello, Ingino.
Thank you, Ruth, and welcome to Lagos. The fourth quarter of 2025 has been set as deadline for implementation of the 45,000 litres capacity as maximum quantity for tanker drivers conveying petrol products across the country by the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. This was the consensus of a 13-man technical working committee comprising various agencies at a nationwide sensitization workshop for tanker drivers in Lagos. Amaka Owo reports.
The increase in rates of accidents of trucks in transit across the country has become an issue of national concern, with high statistics of devastating damages leading to loss of lives and property. Stakeholders in the midstream and downstream sectors of the petroleum industry are determined to achieve zero tanker crashes by involving frontliners in any hazardous occurrence.
The message is very simple, take responsibility, be safe, you are in the front line. So we are giving everyone, because safety is not just the responsibility of the regulator or the operators, it's also the responsibility of every other player, every Nigerian actually.
Avoid driving when they are under depression, avoid overtaking, avoid all forms of negligence while they are driving.
Noting that a tanker laden with petroleum products is estimated at over 120 million naira, solutions to end this ugly trend, stakeholders agree, require multi-dimensional perspectives, including avoiding drugs and alcohol, adopting training on use of fire extinguishers, obeying traffic rules, and ensuring their tankers are roadworthy.
And FRSC says all our trucks should be equipped with speed limiting device.
If a tanker falls and you have a bigger spillage, you immediately call the Federal Fire Service or the fire service number or the emergency numbers that you have, 112 and 122.
The tanker drivers were assured of adequate health insurance, while they also pressed home their demands for improved wages in line with economic realities. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
Collaboration between Nigerian Customs, NDLEA, and other intergovernmental agencies has saved Nigerians from what would have been the effect of dangerous imports that are injurious to general well-being. Bolaji Akim reports that this came to the fore at the open presentation of recent seizures made by the Nigerian Customs Apapa Area Command.
The seizures, which are in 6 40-feet containers, include 1,698 RT pickup syrup with codeine, concealed in water closets, and 1,690 cartons of codeine syrup in toilet seats, all without NAFDAC registration number, are valued at 2,710,400,000 naira. Other items are cosmetics, used clothes, and 2 Lexus vehicles alleged to have been stolen from Canada. Customs Area Controller Apapa Area Command Babatunde Olomu said the seizures were made possible through the Customs Intelligence Unit's internal and foreign collaboration.
In addition to contravening the Nigerian Customs Service Act 2023, these imported containers with prohibited medical items also violate the World Customs Organization's Operation Stop 4, which is a global enforcement operation against trafficking of counterfeit, substandard, and unauthorized medical products.
We went further in order to curtail the importation of these things right from the source. That is why NLA signed an MOU with India to stop producing codeine to Nigerian importers.
The command also revealed that it has surpassed its targeted revenue for the period under review due to resilience and dedication from its officers, while assuring that Apapa Port will not be a safe haven for criminals and economic saboteurs. The area controller revealed that 3 suspects arrested in connection with the seizures will face the full wrath of the law. In Lagos, Bolaji Akim, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide. Time now for some messages. The news continues in Kaduna after the break.
For joining us here in Kaduna, the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar, has commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his commitment towards promoting religious tolerance among Nigerians, describing the move as the best way for strengthening unity and ensuring speedy economic growth and development. The Sultan made the commendation during the commission of Darul Ilm Center for Islamic Studies at Dambusha Community in Chuku local government area of Kaduna State. Adamu Sunday reports.
The growing menace of out-of-school children and its consequences remains a concern in Nigeria. In response, the Director General of the Department of State Services, Oluwaseun Ademola Ajayi, has built a learning center for orphans and indigent children in Dambushia community, Chukun local government area of Kaduna State, in line with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's Renew Hope agenda of providing both Islamic and Western education to undeserved populations. The Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminence Muhammad Saad Abubakar III, joined by the Coordinating Minister of the Economy and Minister of Finance Wale Edun and other dignitaries, encouraged Nigerians not to lose hope. They reaffirmed President Tinubu's unwavering commitment to steering the nation towards sustainable growth and development.
Let's use religion and our diversity to make this country a much better and stronger place.
The policy of the president is to stabilize the economy and reduce poverty.
And we hope and pray that this is a foundation, for better things to come.
The Speaker, all stakeholders, traditional rulers, community leaders, scholars, and students to ensure that that will remain a hub of authentic knowledge.
Kaduna State Governor, Senator Ubasani, represented by Deputy Governor Adiza Sabwa Balarebe, reinstated the administration's dedication to revitalizing the education sector.
We are investing in reducing the out-of-school syndrome, constructing and renovating classrooms across all 23 local governments of our state, and ensuring that the most disadvantaged children have access to quality education.
In recognition of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's leadership and commitment to national development, the Darul Ilm Center for Islamic Studies was renamed in his honor. In Kaduna, Adamu Sunday, NTA News.
And from education now to environmental matters, Nigerians are advised to strictly adhere to the warnings by disaster management agencies and climate experts to mitigate the impact of flooding as rain sets in. The advice is part of the stakeholders' resolutions at the one-day consultative meeting on flood preparation conducted by the National Emergency Management Agency here in Kaduna. Suraj Abdullahi reports.
Rainy season is mostly associated with flooding and its attendant consequences. Year in, year out, stakeholders meet to review predict and share thoughts on how to prevent flood disasters and also to fine-tune strategies to mitigate its impact. This stakeholders meeting convened by the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, drawn participants from critical sectors, including the media, Nigeria Meteorological Agency, NIMET, National Orientation Agency, Security, and the relevant agencies of Kaduna State Government, who agreed that all hands must be on deck.
The people of Kaduna State should at least adhere strictly to the warning by NIMET and NISA.
We made mention of heavy intensity rainfall. When drainages are not cleared, it will bring about flooding.
We know that yes, these predictions are not just hearsay, they are scientifically done, and it is important that the media constantly engage our people in their local languages.
The Nigerian Hydrological Service Agency has warned that 1,249 communities across 176 local government areas in 36 states and the FCT fall within the high flood risk areas in 2025, a situation that requires proactive measures by clearing drainages and other preventive measures. In Kaduna, Suraj Abdullahi, NTA News.
And that's our contributions from this end. Nationwide continues in our Abuja studio with Ruth Aguele.
Thank you, Mohammed. In line with a national commitment to provide accessible and functional education, heads of state advocacy teams have been inaugurated with the mandate to prioritize education of Almajiris and out-of-school children. Elizabeth Omoriye reports.
They are faced with harsh realities, which include poverty, exploitation, and neglect. The good news is that with this inauguration of 8 heads of state or advocacy teams, Almajiri and out-of-school children can actualize their potential through inclusive education for a safe and informed society.
I charge you to be proactive and innovative in your approach, thinking outside the box to reach the most vulnerable population.
Engage critical stakeholders from government officials to community leaders to create a comprehensive strategy that addresses the root causes.
Let us also arm ourselves with all the religious proof that is required to tell this man actually exposing this child to this kind of hardship is un-Islamic, is unreligious.
They're expected to drive campaigns that align with the agenda of the federal government to tackle educational challenges.
By meeting with the stakeholders, we're able to come out with real solutions.
They say this is a call to action towards building a better society. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
The federal government's renewed hope agenda on health continues with an upward trajectory as about 8 infrastructural landmark projects were inaugurated at the Federal Medical Center, Abuja. Lekon Agbonde reports that the Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Isiaq Salako, inaugurated the projects.
8 years of the Federal Medical Center, Abuja, infrastructure development remains part of the mainstay of the administration. As the tenure climaxes, inauguration of laudable infrastructure projects continues as unforgettable investment legacies. The exploits of the Chief Medical Director, the Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Isiaq Salako, says are mirrors of the vision of President Bola Tinubu in providing efficient, qualitative, and affordable healthcare for Nigerians.
In the last 2 years, the federal government has therefore established additional 12 new tertiary health facilities. This is a strategic decision to match tertiary health facilities with the growing population of our country.
I'm glad to announce donation of the Model College, Onijogo, to be used as the take-off infrastructure for this prestigious University of Health Sciences, Abuja.
During the COVID era, the federal government asked us to build 10-bedded ICU, but we saw that the money was enough to build a 20-bedded. So we have 20-bedded ICU in this hospital, well equipped.
In Abuja, Lekon Agbonde, NTA.
Plastic waste is a major environmental issue globally. And to discuss ways to curb plastic pollution, well, we had earlier in our studio an environmental expert and also a safety expert, Adedamola Olasukomi, to shed light, well, rather he shed light on ways to eradicate this pollution. Let's see the excerpt.
One, as an individual, we have to embark on personal hygiene, adequate personal hygiene, cleaning of our environment. That's hygiene. We have to start all the drainages, clearing of the environment. We have to start from our house, our indoor. So we have to, all the drainages, if all the drainages were being cleared, all the overgrown weeds were being cut down, all this, there is free flow of water, there will not be outbreak of diseases. That is what we are preventing. We are preventing outbreak of diseases.
We should do the needful by refusing to dispose this plastic to end that pollution. In other news, the Nigeria Customs Service Federal Operations Unit Zone D has intercepted smuggled items with a duty paid value worth over 100 million naira. Awal Abdullahi reports.
The smuggled items intercepted by the Nigerian Customs Service Federal Operations Unit Zone D Bauchi include foreign rice and spaghetti, second-hand clothing, petrol, and 9.40 kilograms of pangolin, among others. The comptroller noted that the success was achieved in collaboration with sister security agencies during the recent anti-smuggling activities of the unit from April to May 2025.
We achieved this success through intelligence and in terms of patrol. When I came, we have a lot of information about people moving all this kind of stuff, even in small quantities. So we started targeting them, and then we were able to get all these ones. We have a lot of people bringing in things from other places to this zone, but we are trying to curtail that as much as we can.
He called on public to desist from smuggling, stressing that the Nigerian Customs Service has zero tolerance for smuggling activities. In Bauchi, Awal Abdullahi, NTA News.
Catholic Archbishop of Abuja, Most Reverend Ignatius Kaigama, wants Nigerians to avoid religious extremism and embrace tolerance among the nation's ethnic groups. Omenka Amarachuku reports on that. This was part of the Archbishop's homily at Our Lady, Queen of Peace Catholic Church, Otako, here in Abuja.
The Bishop's pastoral visit to Our Lady, Queen of Peace Catholic Church was marked by a series of events, including the investiture of seminarians, the blessing of the chapel, as well as the installation of the tabernacle. Archbishop Kaigama, in a message to Christian community, says peace and development in the country depends on cooperation among religious groups towards promoting dialogue and tolerance.
Let there be equality, let there be fairness, and this is what we feel will bring peace.
Prayers were offered for the nation's continued peace and national coexistence among Nigerians. In Abuja, Umenka Marachuku, NTA News.
The Sultan of Sokoto and President General of the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar, has called on Muslims across the country to begin the search for the new moon of Zulhijjah on Tuesday, 27th May 2025, which corresponds to 29th of Zulhijjah. The directive was conveyed in a statement issued by the Wazir in Sokoto and chairman of the Advisory Committee on Religious Affairs, Professor Sambo Wali Jonaidu. The statement enjoined members of the Muslim Ummah to report any sighting of the crescent to the nearest district or village head for communication to the Sultan for necessary action. The sighting of the new moon marks the commencement of the sacred month of Zulhijjah, during which Muslims around the world perform the annual Hajj and Eid al-Adha festival. Traffic rules and regulations are essential for ensuring road safety, smooth traffic flow and protection of road users. Despite the pivotal function of traffic regulations, however, many individuals choose to ignore these rules. leading to a host of negative consequences. And one of such, well, led to an unfortunate killing of a 14-year-old SS1 student in Ibadan. Kende Omolosho reports.
Violation of traffic rules has been identified as a leading cause of road accidents, ranging from minor collisions to fatal crashes. Many accidents result in severe injuries or even casualties, affecting both the offenders and innocent road users. Disobedient behavior, such as illegal parking or blocking lanes, as well as driving against traffic, can cause significant traffic disruptions. But how can this negative habit be checked?
There should be a better way for us to apprehend a traffic offender. Thank God all these vehicles are e-registered. You don't need to pursue any offender. The only thing you can do is to install most of the CCTV.
We'll be having high-end devices that we can use to capture offenders, go into our database, fetch the credentials of the offender, inform the offender of the infractions, add the evidence of the infraction, and give him the link to pay his fine.
Increased police patrols, traffic cameras, and fines can also deter reckless behavior by road users. Kehinde Omolosho, NTA News.
All right, let's join our correspondent Kende, who's standing by there in Ibadan, one of the busy roads there in one of the metropolis there. Kende, you know, the 14-year-old SS1 student is just one out of many who have been unfortunate by reckless driving and, you know, people not obeying traffic rules. Tell us the measures that has been put in place to curb these and punish offenders.
All right, good afternoon, Roots. With me is the Deputy Corps Commander, Federal Road Safety Corps, Oyo Operations Federal Road Safety Corps, Oyo State, Olugbasan Bayode. What measures are you putting in place to ensure that traffic offenders are apprehended and they face the consequences of the law?
RCV itself is a critical offense in FRSC. That is route violation. Route violation is driving against designated route or flow of traffic. However, in FRSC, we have 4 operational strategies in which we use to address all these operational issues on the road. We have the public education and public enlightenment. We go to churches, we go to mosques, we go to motor parks to enlighten our people. And the public education has to do with the formal education that we go to schools to teach our children even how to make use of the road. Then we have the persuasion. Persuasion entails talking to you that, okay, we have committed an offense and we will reprimand you there and we ask you to go. Don't do it again. Then we have the subtle force. Subtle force, we can take you to the office, we book you light offense. But when we go for full enforcement, this one has to do with RCV carrying the weight, the offense, the weight of the consequence, which is a 5,000 naira offense. However, this can graduate into even DGD, that is dangerous driving. And you can also be prosecuted in the courts of law. Then in some states, we have situations where you have to go for psychiatric evaluation for RCV offenses.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming on the news today.
Thank you very much.
Ruth, it's over to you.
Thank you, Kende. It doesn't really take much to be sane on the road. And, well, in Damaturu, there's a flip side, you know, in a bid to put up that strategy to enhance traffic management and reduce congestion. A construction of flyover bridge and underpass we hear has commenced in the state. That's the Yobe State capital, which was initiated by the state government. The project aims to improve the city's infrastructure, facilitate smoother traffic flow, and boost economic activities. Let's hear from Yunusa Suleiman.
History was made in February 2025 when all I's were dotted and T's crossed in a landmark agreement reached between the Yobe State government and Trictar Construction Company for the construction of first ever flyover and underpass in Damaturu, the state capital.
This is a great achievement for our state, and then we are really appreciated because our state will expand in terms of business, in terms of road, security and economic.
This project, people they are appreciating, and this project is bringing the development.
During the demolition exercise, metal scavengers took advantage of the rubble, searching for reusable materials to make ends meet. When completed, the project is expected to have a lasting impact on the city's economic and social landscape. In Damaturu, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
Quite commendable, I would say. But let's hear from Yunusa Suleiman to give us more insight into the proposed flyover bridge construction. Yunusa, please go ahead.
This is the heart of Damaturu Metropolis. And behind me in the next 1 year, flyover and underpass will be constructed. The project is expected to go 22.3 billion naira. From that report, we have seen how some residents welcomed the project, describing it as a step forward for the development of the state. But the state government in one of the fora responded by saying the project has been captured and under its 25-year development plan for the metropolis, and where the state government says that development plan, major critical infrastructure will be provided for the state capital and other major towns across the state. Apart from the underpass and flyover, the state government also plans to construct a green economic zone for the within the state capital. And also the state was quick to say that the relative peace being enjoyed in the state capital or in the state as a whole is the impetus that is giving the state government the opportunity to embark on such massive critical infrastructure.
All right, thank you, Yunusa. You said 1 year is the target, so we'll definitely monitor development as it unfolds. Let's find out what's happening in Port Harcourt. Jenny Bassi is standing by.
Very much, Ruth. The Rivers State government has pledged to conduct a comprehensive appraisal of the underutilized Port Harcourt Technical and Vocational Center to determine the factors hindering its full operation. The Rivers State Administrator, Vice Admiral Iborete Ibaz, made the commitment shortly after an inspection tour of key state projects, including the ongoing Rivers State House of Assembly Complex and Dr. Obiwali International Conference Center in Obiapo local government area of the state. Osinachi Samuel reports.
Technical and Vocational Center and Dr. Obiwali International Center have been significantly underutilized. Hence, the need for this decisive step towards ensuring that the facilities serve their intended purpose. The River State Administrator, Vice Admiral Ibok Eteyubas, while inspecting these infrastructure, including the level of construction at the River State House of Assembly Complex, expressed satisfaction with the progress of work and the employment opportunities created for the youths.
I've gone around to see the progress being made in respect of this facility. I've also gone to see the other facilities before now. These are great structures that were put in place, to support the socio-economic activities of the state. I want to believe that if we can optimize their use, that we can get a lot of young men off the streets and boost capacity. And basically, I'm just going around to see the state of things as they stand.
He reiterated that the River State government remains committed to revitalizing key infrastructure to drive youth empowerment, economic development, and sustainable growth in the state. In Port Harcourt, Osinachi Samuel, NTA News.
Artificial intelligence, otherwise known as AI, is being embraced to enhance productivity at work, home, and academic institutions globally. However, many youths appear to have developed a dependence on this innovation for most activities, as against treating it as a complementary tool to make tasks easier. Joy Uzo in this report highlights the effect of increased dependence on AI and how it can be checked.
Artificial intelligence, or AI as it is commonly referred to, has not only come to stay but has been programmed through codes to move humanity from the analog way of life to more simplified and smarter ways. Artificial intelligence is a set of computer programs designed to think and mimic human behaviors, such as actualization of basic tasks, learning, reasoning, and self-correction. As significant as the AI function is to the human race, experts warn about the risk of increased dependence on it, especially among the youthful population, as a tool for solving day-to-day academic, organizational, and social issues.
And we have the robotics. That's the one that people do see. You see, they will build one person that looks like a human, and you'll be going to the market to buy things. That's robotics. It can also make the process of you doing things effective, help the doctors, the librarians, the different fields to make sure that the work they are doing is effective.
A chat with some students further highlights the significance of AI technology and the attendant implications of over-dependence on it, especially in the academic process of acquiring a degree.
In the long run, let's say something happens and AI just vanishes as a resistance, you find so many people falling back to the basics, confused where to start from, because so many professions is dependent on it. And yes, it's easy, but it's actually limiting you as a human, like your thinking capabilities.
Myself, I tried AI once to know who I am on AI, because there's no misses. It was telling me E. So we cannot depend absolutely on AI, that the physical library is not longer important. It's more important than any other thing, because internet AI will give you 100 answers, but the library will give you the correct answer.
They also encourage youth to embrace their intellectual ability and creativity in attending to basic issues or challenges around them for a more deepened and balanced society. In Port Harcourt, I'm Joy Uzo, NTA News.
Those are the reports from Port Harcourt. Ruth is back to you in Abuja.
In Sokoto. As part of efforts to reposition education, Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State has inaugurated the renovated Government Girls Arabic Secondary School, Gusau, one of Nigeria's oldest schools. This is aligning with Governor's declaration of a state of emergency on the education sector. Correspondent Haliru Muhammad completes the report.
Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal had since inception of his administration embarked on renovation of schools and providing them with modern facilities to improve teaching and learning. The action is in line with the declaration of a state of emergency on the education sector for improved service delivery. Here is Government Girls Arabic Secondary School in Gusau, which is one of the oldest schools in the country, fully renovated and remodeled to offer science, art, ICT and commercial subjects being inaugurated by the governor.
The renovation work was carried out within a contract duration of 13 months with all the mechanical and electrical services throughout the school. Presently, both phase 1 and phase 2 of the contract are 100% completed.
The renovation covered 94 structures, including administrative block, classrooms, offices, and students' hostel destroyed by fire. Zamfara State Commissioner of Education, Science and Technology, Wadatoma Dawaki, emphasized the administration's commitment to uplifting the state's educational standard. He charged the school management to adopt a maintenance culture for the benefit of future generations.
We appreciate this wonderful consideration of yours, Your Excellency, to ensure that this very institution is fully and completely rehabilitated.
The renovation is expected to provide a conducive teaching and learning environment for better educational experience. In Gusau, Halir Muhammad, NTA News.
And that's all we have time for here in Sokoto. It's now back to you, Ruth.
Thank you very much, Sadia. And we have little time to take sports update. Let's do that.
Team Data continues to lead the medal standing at the ongoing National Sports Festival known as the Gateway Games 2024 with a total of 153 medals, including 65 gold, 33 silver and 55 bronze medals, placing them ahead of their rivals. Bayelsa State are placed second with 43 gold, 30 silver and 27 bronze medals, while the host state Ogun are third and Rivers hosts the fourth spot. Meanwhile, 10 home-based Super Eagles players and their officials arrived London Monday for the Unity Cup Invitational Tournament. The Super Eagles will compete against their rivals, the Black Stars of Ghana, in their opening match at the G-Tech Community Stadium in Brentford on Wednesday. Other participating teams include the Reggae Boys from Jamaica and the Soca Warriors from Trinidad and Tobago. The Unity City, an Afro-Caribbean international football tournament, is making a comeback after being last held in 2004 following a 21-year break. Elsewhere, the president of the Nigeria Weightlifting Federation, Abdul Ibrahim, has been elected as the chairman of the Gender Equity Commission of the International Weightlifting Federation during the Electoral Congress in Saudi Arabia held on Sunday. Ibrahim secured 122 votes, placing first among the first elected officials representing different countries on the commission. And finally, defending champion Iga Swiatek defeated Rebecca Szwankova of Slovakia 6-3, 6-3 on Monday, advancing to the second round of the French Open as she begins a pursuit of her historical fourth consecutive women's title. With Sports Update, Omoyeme Unobo, NTA News.
That ends Nationwide. Thank you for your company. And Bruce Aguilera. Bye.